This just look awesome. It's September 1st and XRP ledger is heating up. Highest on-chain transaction volume since February 1st. That kind of movement at a time when the price action is low shows you massive accumulation is happening, which points you to the direction that the price action is about to start reflecting the value because the utility is already here. And technically speaking, the actual value, the actual utility of this asset is slowly starting to reflect in the price action. Now, I would actually take you guys through something which I seriously, strongly believe shows that the price action is going to run higher. And it kind of takes you through a lot of different things, which I can break it down so that you guys can easily understand, because this particular level is something interesting in history. And once we understand the macro market and then look at the microstructure, it kind of gives you the real idea that yes, we are about to run higher. Welcome to the scientific investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. So as we go through all this, we do understand this 1, 2, 3 and an ABC correction is done here too. After that comes in the next 1, 2, 3 impulsive waves to the upside. We got clarity here in July the 13th, which means the next impulse is going to be much, much bigger than what we have seen here. Historically, that's true, and that time back in 2021, we didn't have all these exchanges. We didn't have a lot of these people trying to buy XRP, but this time around, it's different. We have a lot of people trying to get their hands on XRP, and right now you do watch that, yes, it's true. So now this comes from Sept the Month, kind of gives you the idea that the sentiment in the market for this asset is 7 months high. And on the other end, you do see that things are heating up in the court. Stuart kind of highlight the fact that Ripple just filed its opposition to the SEC's request. And if you actually look at that, he kind of point towards footnote 5, and he says it's his favorite. So we jump on to the document into the footnote 5, and it kind of shows you this particular point. The SEC kind of states it does not seek to appellate review of any holding relating to the fact that the underlying assets here are nothing but computer code with no inherent value. So now it's actually a different perspective, right? They're saying the crypto assets doesn't have any value in it because it's just an asset created by someone some way. Now, the code did not actually say that. And to the contrary, it's already established that XRP has huge value as a bridge currency because it actually is used for cross-border payments, micro payments, all those landscape of the payments industry. So the side of Howie kind of gives you the idea that XRP in itself is not an investment contract. So SEC is kind of bored in that side. Now they are trying to put the value here, saying not all the assets are the same. We all understand that fact. Not all assets are the same. Some of them are really meme coins, shit coins. That kind of narrative comes out. But something with the existing value is what makes it perfect. Now they're trying to hit in all different things, and this is something interesting from Wrath of Gunman. Now if you jump on to the technical side, I would really like to inform this to you first. Focus on the price structure. Key is that. Because if you actually know the point, when you zoom in and you see the price dropping, it's not a good emotional feeling at that point. You're watching the price dropping like this. That doesn't actually feel good. It's like, we're trending lower. But zoom out a little bit. I'm not talking about, a weekly macro structure. I'm just looking at last 6 months to a year. And that kind of gives me an idea. Yeah, we were actually consolidating in this range. We didn't do much, but then we broke higher. Usually we come back down, we retest that range and then go back up. Now we want to actually understand, are we at a range where we can do that? We can bounce off. That's something interesting, isn't it? So if we actually take a look at the price action, what do we actually see here? If it's me, I would actually put the argument that this low is actually a structural low because it was actually making a higher lows. Great. So if you actually put in that perspective, here the price action was showing you a higher low. Great. And the RSI also agreed with it. Perfect. Now, if you actually look at this one here, the price actually moves to the upside, puts in a higher low, but at the time, RSI shows you, I have something else to say. RSI is saying I'm putting in a lower low at a time when the price is putting in a higher low. What does that actually mean in reality? When this structure happens in a lot of different assets, whether it's stock market, whether it's commodities, whether it's crypto, historically, what's happening? What can you actually anticipate? And this is what I'm watching. The price is going higher, the RSI is going lower. Great. This is what I'm looking at. The price is going to the upside, the RSI is going to the downside. So the oscillator and the price kind of gives you that idea here that it's bullish. It's a hidden bullish divergence. You're not actually watching something bearish here. You're watching something bullish but hidden. So the traditional EC divergence, it's not that one. So you need to actually take your time, go through all this and understand the fact that it is about to take off. Because if you do watch it bottoming here, then you are watching something popping through. Why? Let me take you guys through that. This is one part. We are watching the wave structure, we are watching the price action, and it kind of gives you the idea we are about to do that. When you zoom in, this is 720, which means a 12-hour chart, and it shows you the strength actually broke higher, retested, and it's now forming a divergence. So it's a short term. Here, the price is trying to make a double bottom at a time when the RSI is trying to trend higher. Great. The MACD agrees with the price here, but at the same time, it's trying to touch on what the RSI is highlighting. It also shows you the divergence, but it's trying to cross to the downside. So keep in mind, all of these points are important. Why? Because as you step further, the trend lines show you that the price is wicking to the downside from the first trend line. Historically, we have seen this with the RSI, with the MACD, and we discussed that in the yesterday's video. That means more or less that's the area of the key bluff. The whales, the financial institutions, they want you out at a point before the takeoff. Now, look at this. We have this trend line from a long period of time. So it's like 10 years. And the price respect that range for some reason. We don't know whether it's the market psychology for this particular asset or institutions, the algorithmic trading, the bots. We really don't know. But for some reason, this asset is respecting this range as a resistance, which then turns into a support. So I'm like, okay, as long as we are above that and as long as we are bouncing from that, it doesn't actually look negative for my eyes. Say, you want to actually zoom in. Great. There's nothing wrong about it. We'll actually take this one out and just go on to a 3-day chart. What do you actually notice here in this chart? I would actually, it's one of the easiest part for me is to look at this and say, okay, this candle is still relevant. It actually took all these candles to pull back to the same downside to at least retest that range. And even when that's the case, you're watching this structure. It's making a higher low. Great. At that time, the RSI shows you I'm putting in a lower low. That again brings you back to the hidden bullish divergence. So even if you look at this asset on a weekly, the macro chart, and try to bring on the same idea, you're getting something similar. So it's like the micro, the macro, everything is trying to agree on one point last time this happened, we actually saw this bounce. Now, it was not a big bounce. We started from 0.34, went up to 0.57. That still was a feel-good bounce for us because we were in a consolidative range. Right now, if it bounces higher, it's more like palliative care for us because a lot of people are now going emotionally negative on XRP. I can watch that on the crypto Twitter. I can watch that on the comment section. But what I would really like to give you guys is to keep this in mind. The price action stayed stable. Strength increased. The price action started moving up. The strength continued moving up. And at the point you get this wick to the downside, the price is not falling. So you're watching more and more sellers are trying to push the price to the downside, but the price is not dropping for some reason. Whatever they are selling into the market, someone for some reason is buying in huge. Are you buying? Are you averaging down? Are you buying and moving it out of the exchanges? If you do look at the on-chain data, you will feel the same. You're like, okay, someone big is buying and they are pushing it over. Because if you actually jump into the actual ledger and look at the XRP rich list, all these other stuff which is evolving. See, look at this. We have limited amount of accounts with massive XRP holdings. 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million. These guys can literally move the market. Now, you don't need 100 million XRP to move the market. At a point where the panic is already there, you just have to push a little bit lower, showing I'm breaking to the downside, and then buy lower. You make a little bit of profit in the selling, but you buy back huge and push it back up. So that panic, which they're creating, can push price down. Why? A lot of other retailers would also sell. The price drops. Now they will take profit from their shorts and put that back in as a buy. So the retailers are out and they get back in heavily. That's one of the reasons why they keep going up in terms of XRP. They don't care about the value in dollar. They are literally looking at how much more they can get their hands onto in terms of XRP as an asset. Now, it's true for a lot of other assets for sure. It's not just XRP in this market. We are watching a lot of other assets. We are following a lot of different assets in this market. And we are watching some of them showing you a negative movement, some of them showing you a positive movement. And it kind of gives you the real idea that this market, if you are focused, you don't need 20,000 assets. Maybe 10, maybe 20, that's more than enough. And if you can pick those and reason why you are doing that, it can be healthy. And if you are looking for something like that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below where we go through all this. I kind of go through the market. Whatever I see, I put it down there for you guys. Because if you do understand these facts and you are at a doubt point where you're like, should I buy more? Should I average down? I need to know more about this. Whether it's the psychology of the market using the technical analysis or the macro market analysis. Both of them is there. Now, it's not just about XRP. It's about the entire crypto market. So if that's true, we are like Bitcoin is a key part in that. There is no argument that last 10 years looks something like this. Great. That's a great trend line. The market is maturing. That movement is still there. Now, this standard deviation line kind of shows you the wick at the bottom here, and then you made consistent movement towards that. You slowed down there, you started trending back higher. Now, if that's true, can we drop a little bit more? Yeah, around 23, 500, 24, that's still possible. But does that make a concern here? For me, I would say no. I would say more or less we are watching for a bounce. And if it does bounce off, there's a long way to the upside. If we can put the argument saying that, okay, we got a double top on a macro chart, then we would say, okay, there can be a retest of that range. Now that is going to be around $60,000 to $70,000, and say for some reason around 45,000, 50,000, you will get a lot of resistance. there'll be a lot of people who bought in around 15, 20, 25, trying to take their profits out at that range. But during that time, watch a lot of these crypto assets, especially those which are already trending higher against Bitcoin on a 3-month chart, on a 6-month chart. If you do see them, that's opportunity for you. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're looking for those opportunities in the market, you can look at this. Now, these are not those opportunities. I'm actually preparing a digest. Not yet done. It should have been done 2 days back. I apologize. But it's going to come out soon. I'll try to do that today night and drop it to you guys max tomorrow morning. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.